Oh my gosh, is this thing crooked? I don't know. What is up, my homies? I am Jared Winkler, and I just wanted to check in with you guys. I know that it's been, where is the camera? There it is. I know it's been a little while, and I've been noticing that people have been commenting on the channel a whole lot. I see it's been kind of a time for like New Year's resolutions, and people have been trying to quit. They've been commenting and asking questions and wondering what's been going on with me. I am about 400 days smoke-free now. It's been a year and about a month. I'm sorry, I've been super busy and I've been unable to make a video. I've been kind of under the weather and lots of stuff going on in my life that's really unimportant, but it's kept me from kind of making it a priority to make videos. I just recorded this entire video just now in time lapse on my phone, so I'm going to try to duplicate the message that I gave to you guys in time lapse. So yeah. So with these new comments that I've got on the last video I did and some of the others just recently, I want to go over a couple of the questions that I've seen and kind of go in depth. People have just been wondering kind of what to expect, and I think that's normal. Everybody who is considering quitting or who is quitting, the biggest fear is, what do I expect? How terrible is this going to be? And one of the big questions I just recently saw was, when am I going to stop thinking about cigarettes? And that's a tricky question, because when it comes down, every person is different. But even when it comes down to a particular individual, each quit is different. Now, I assume that person's wondering when that like kind of intense thought, the kind of craving thoughts are going to go away, because obviously when you quit smoking, it's something that you think about like every day or every hour, and certainly that can't last forever. But I will tell you, as a smoker, you have an addiction, and with that addiction, you're going to remain addicted even when you're removed from the drug, so you are going to think about it. Obviously, like for someone like me, I'm now like a year and a month in, so I don't think about it obsessively, but every once in a while, the thought enters my mind, and really now it doesn't really have a huge effect on me. It's not uncomfortable particularly, and it doesn't make me feel like I'm going to cave and mess everything up. It's simply just kind of a passing thought. It's not all that important, but it is an addiction, and I got to keep myself in check. But so I would say, when does it get better? When does it go from that obsessive feeling to how it is today? Well, I would say it's a graduation. It kind of goes slowly over time, and I think maybe it goes a little bit faster towards the beginning. I personally would say, and again, it depends on the person, but like anywhere from like 2 weeks to 2 months, maybe 3 months, somewhere in there, I think there is a definite shift in kind of the thought and the importance of the thought of smoking or a cigarette. It kind of loses its hold on you somewhere in there. And I don't want to give anyone false hope, because maybe it can go longer. But also, I wouldn't want you, if you've made it like, I don't know, 6 weeks and you think you're thinking about cigarettes a lot, I wouldn't want you to overthink that, because since it's a graduation, if you look at how you feel between days 1 and 3, it feels like it's almost the same. You maybe feel a little bit better on day 3, but if you look at the difference between day 1 and day 20, I mean, there is a significant difference there. Or day 1 and day 60, there's going to be a significant difference there. But if you look at little like pieces in between, you may not see the change in yourself. So I promise you, if you give yourself enough time, and that's something I always preach, is the more time you can put between yourself and that last cigarette, the better off you'll be, the more normal you're going to feel. But obviously, it's totally different for everyone, so I would just say give yourself enough time. If you can stick with it, it will get better. I promise you. I've made it longer than I have now. Obviously, I made it 3 years, and I messed up. But every quit, it gets better over time. You're not going to be stuck 6 months in feeling the same as you did on the first day. And the only situation I think that that's possible is if you're using a nicotine replacement. Because in my opinion, when you use a nicotine replacement, you're kind of putting off that day when you're finally getting off the drug. And so, I don't know. I would assume you're gonna, if you finally have weaned yourself off of nicotine 3 months in, I would assume from that 3 month point, you can assume that you're kind of just starting, even though you may have felt like you have a 3 month journey behind you. And that's kind of why I would always suggest doing it cold turkey. It's like, I understand for some people's mentalities that cessation works. For me, I need to do the battle from day one. I can't like do like a partial battle for a little while and then eventually kick it. That's not how I work. So that's the first question. Second question was, make sure I'm not in time lapse mode. I'm actually recording a video this time around. The other question was, do you feel better as a non-smoker? And I can't speak for every smoker in the world, but I will tell you, as a smoker, I felt bad. Really bad. And in fact, I've talked about in other videos, I felt like a person who was like really sick. How people kind of say, oh, I have good days and I have bad days. That's how I was with smoking. I felt gross typically. I would wake up with a sore throat. I had a cough that was pretty regular. I'll never forget, in one of the final months before I finally decided to quit, I was going to a theater with some friends and we were late for the show. So we had to run from the car to the theater through an outdoor mall. And by the time I got into the theater, I felt really sick. Not just like out of breath like I had been running, like my friends that ran with me. They obviously felt like, whoa, out of breath, heart beating fast. Well, I felt like I was gonna puke. I didn't feel right. My heart didn't feel right. My chest didn't feel right. I felt shaky. When you are a smoker, your baseline neutral is already fighting illness, essentially. You are doing battle with yourself. So your system is constantly struggling to keep up with something that is beating on it. So I would say, like, the baseline neutral non-smoker is always going to feel better than the baseline neutral smoker on a good day. It's just the way it is. So yes, I mean, I feel immensely better just in general. I don't feel sick day to day unless I have an illness. And even then, I'll tell you, when you get sick and you're a smoker, it tends to affect you a lot worse than when you're a non-smoker. I remember in college, anytime I would get like a head cold, it would end up traveling to my chest, and then I'd have a cough, a bad cough, for a month or 2 months. It was just like terrible. And now, as a non-smoker, if I do get sick with something, it kind of runs its course and I'm over it in a relatively short time, the way it should be, But in any case, I just wanted to touch base with you and let you know that I'm doing great. I feel fantastic. I couldn't imagine going back. And I realize I have gone a very long time before and did go back. So I know I have to keep myself in check, but I feel stronger and I feel wiser on the subject than I ever have before. I feel like I understand it and I understand myself better. And, I feel like in the past year, I have made some really awesome changes in my life that I couldn't have done without quitting smoking first. For the past couple of years, I had these New Year's resolutions that I was going to have a year of health. I was going to take care of me, and I was going to be the person that I wanted to be, the person I wanted to see myself as. And for a couple of years, I couldn't do that. And then when I kicked smoking, then suddenly that jump-started the ability to do these other things that I wanted to do. And I've achieved so many things in my life that smoking would ruin. It would ruin the being a non-smoker, but it would ruin these other things that I've achieved as well. So it's doubly important to me that I stay away so that I can continue being this person that I've wanted to be, that I finally can say, F yeah, I am. I'm that person, and I can build and become more of the person that I want to be. So for any of you that are seeing this video that are considering quitting smoking, I hope that you will. For those of you that are in the middle of your quits, I hope you're doing all right. Stay with it. You're gonna be okay. Just give it more time, and eventually it's gonna get easier. I promise you. But if you're just considering it, don't worry about New Year's resolutions. It doesn't have to be on the first of the year. It can be anytime. It could be tomorrow or a week from now. If you need a little more time to get yourself prepared mentally, do all the research you can. Find out what other people's experiences are. Get yourself ready to go through those experiences. But you can do it. You can do it now. It's never not going to be uncomfortable. It's unfortunately that's the way it's just going to be. But you can do it. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be a little bit scary. It's going to be a challenge. Promise you. But you can break through it. You can do it. I hate to use that saying that everybody seems to use, but if I can do it, anybody can do it. I've talked about it in my videos before. Friends of mine would tell you I was the worst smoker that they'd ever met. So if I can get through it, anybody can get through it. And then also getting through it is not getting through it. It's a continual thing. It's something that will be with you for a while. Real quick, I was ending this video, but I should bring it up. I remember in a video in my first series, when I first quit, I talked about quitting smoking being like getting a tattoo. So, which I don't have any tattoos, but my ex-girlfriend that I lived with when I first quit that time, she was a tattoo artist, so she was tattooing people all the time. But the thing is, when somebody gets a tattoo or they quit smoking, in the beginning, it's very, very painful. You kind of have to nurture it. You have to take care of it. You have to put your Neosporin on it, and you need to, just be very careful with it until it kind of heals. But just like getting a tattoo, quitting smoking, you nurture yourself and you take care of yourself, and you get to a point when it's not at the forefront of your mind. It's something that's part of you though, and it's there. It exists still, even though it doesn't hurt. It's part of you, and that's kind of a duality, I guess, that I brought up in a previous video that I thought was kind of clever. So being a non-smoker, but having been a smoker, it's kind of part of you. It's going to be with you, and it's going to remain a thing that you have to kind of deal with. But it's easy to, in the long run, if you just, if you can just stick it through the most difficult, the most uncomfortable parts. Anyway, thank you so much for listening to me ramble. I love you all. I hope you're doing well. We will see you next time. Peace out, homies.